January 24th, 1961. A hydrogen bomb hangs from a parachute in North Carolina farmland. 3 of its 4 safety mechanisms have already failed. Its trigger is engaged. The firing signal has reached its nuclear core. One low-voltage switch, the kind that shorts when hit with an electrical jolt, is the only thing standing between a routine Cold War patrol and a 3.8 megaton detonation. You're listening to the Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. This episode's narration is AI-generated. The research, writing, and editorial decisions behind every story are made with care for accuracy and respect for those involved. Today, the night 2 hydrogen bombs fell on North Carolina, and one almost went off. Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina. January 23, 1961, just before midnight. A B-52G bomber lifts off carrying 2 Mark 39 Mod 2 hydrogen bombs in its belly. Each weapon weighs nearly 10,000 pounds. Each has a yield of 3.8 megatons, 260 times more powerful than the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima. Major Walter Scott, TULUK, is at the controls. 7 other crew members are on board. This is a routine airborne alert mission, part of the Cold War practice of keeping nuclear-armed bombers in the air at all times, ready to retaliate if the Soviets strike first. The mission has a code name, Cover All. It's the predecessor to what will later be called Operation Chrome Dome. Around midnight, the B-52 meets a tanker aircraft over the North Carolina coast for aerial refueling. The refueling boom extends. Fuel begins to transfer. And then the tanker crew sees something. A stream of liquid pouring from the B-52's right wing. They radio the bomber, "You've got a leak." Major Tulluck acknowledges. The crew monitors the fuel gauges. The leak is manageable. They'll top off the tanks and return to base. But the leak doesn't stay manageable. In 3 minutes, 37,000 pounds of fuel drain from the right wing. The B-52 becomes asymmetric. The wing is lighter. The aircraft wants to roll. Tulluck orders the crew to prepare for emergency landing at Seymour Johnson. They descend through 10,000 feet. The B-52 Stratofortress was designed to fly halfway around the world without landing. Its fuel capacity was enormous. Losing 37,000 pounds in 3 minutes was like watching a swimming pool drain through a garden hose. At 10,000 feet, the pilots lose control. The aircraft enters what the investigation will later describe as a gyration, best described as a spin. At 9,000 feet, Major Tulluck makes the call. Abandon aircraft. 5 crew members eject or bail out through hatches. Lieutenant Adam Mattox bails out of the top hatch, without an ejection seat. He's the only person known to have survived that maneuver in a B-52. The pilotless bomber continues its descent, spinning, breaking apart in the air. Witnesses on the ground see 2 flashes of red light. At 12:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wreckage hits the ground near Fair O, North Carolina, 12 miles north of Goldsboro, O. The debris field covers 2 square miles, and somewhere between the moment the crew bailed out and the moment the bomber disintegrated, 2 hydrogen bombs separated from the aircraft and fell. Micro Cliffhanger 1. What happened next is what hydrogen bombs are designed to do in warfare. One bomb's parachute deploys. The canopy catches in tree branches near a tobacco field. The bomb dangles, largely intact. The second bomb plunges into a muddy meadow off Big Daddy's Road. It hits soft earth and keeps going. Down, through mud and groundwater, it embeds deep. Explosive ordnance disposal teams arrive within hours. They approach the first bomb carefully. It's a Mark 39 Mod 2, a thermonuclear weapon with a 2-stage design. Fission primary, fusion secondary, the kind of weapon that uses a small atomic bomb as a trigger to ignite a much larger hydrogen explosion. They open the casing. Inside, they find that the arming sequence had initiated. The bomb had done exactly what it was designed to do when released from an aircraft in combat. The lanyard connected to the bomb release mechanism had pulled. The barometric sensors had detected altitude change. The timer had started. The firing signal had been sent to the nuclear core. 3 of the bomb's 4 safety mechanisms had failed. A Mark 39 Mod 2 hydrogen bomb had multiple layers of protection. At least, that's what the public was told. Arm-safe switches, environmental sensing devices, mechanical interlocks. The idea was that no single failure, no single accident could cause a nuclear detonation on American soil. Micro cliffhanger 2. 3 layers had failed. 1 remained. The final barrier was a component called the MC772 arm-safe switch. It was a low-voltage electromechanical relay, a simple dynamo technology device. The kind of switch that shorts when hit with an electrical surge. The kind of component that fails in crashes, in fires, in any high-energy event. That switch had stayed in the safe position. If it hadn't, if the shock of separation had jarred it, if the spin had flipped it, if any one of a dozen mechanical stresses had moved it from safe to arm, the bomb would have detonated. The EOD team carefully disarms the weapon. They document every detail. They photograph the failed mechanisms. They note the position of that one switch, then they turn to the second bomb. The second weapon is buried. The recovery team digs. They find pieces, the parachute assembly, sections of the outer casing. But the core of the weapon, the thermonuclear secondary stage, the part containing enriched uranium, has punched through 55 feet of mud and soft earth. They dig deeper. The hole fills with groundwater. They try again. After weeks of effort, the Air Force makes a decision. The secondary stage is unrecoverable. It's too deep. The ground is too unstable. They leave it there. The US government purchases an easement on the property. The terms are clear. No excavation. Ever. The thermonuclear component stays buried. It's still there today. A tobacco field in Wayne County, North Carolina. 12 miles from a city of 40,000 people. Under that field, a piece of a hydrogen bomb containing enriched uranium left in place because digging it up was more dangerous than leaving it alone. 8 years later, in 1969, a senior engineer at San Diego National Laboratories named Parker F. Jones reviewed the evidence from the Goldsboro accident. He wrote a technical report on the Mark 39 safety systems. His conclusion, the Mk-39 Mod 2 bomb did not possess adequate safety for the airborne alert role in the B-52. He wrote, one simple dynamo technology, low-voltage switch stood between the United States and a major catastrophe. Jones noted that if the bomb had detonated, the fireball and blast wave would have been immediate. But the fallout, radioactive material lofted into the atmosphere, would have traveled. The lethal fallout radius would have covered Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia. It would have reached New York City. San Diego classified the report. It remained secret for 44 years. In 2013, journalist Eric Schlosser used a Freedom of Information Act request to force the report's release. That's when the public learned how close the detonation had come. And here's the part that changes everything. The Mark 39 Mod 2 was the standard bomb carried on airborne alert missions. Hundreds of B-52 flights, thousands of hours in the air. The same bomb, the same safety systems, the same fragile switch. The government knew it wasn't safe. They kept it classified. They kept flying. The Goldsboro incident was one of at least 700 significant nuclear weapons accidents recorded by the US military between 1950 and 1968. Most of those reports remain classified. We know about Goldsboro because a bomber crashed on land in a populated area, and because one engineer wrote a report that was eventually pried loose by a journalist decades later. The question isn't whether we got lucky that night in North Carolina. The question is, how many other times did we get lucky that we still don't know about? There's a field near Goldsboro where part of a hydrogen bomb is still buried 55 feet down. The government bought the land to make sure no one digs. It's a permanent reminder that the Cold War's closest call isn't just history. It's still there, under the ground, waiting. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit room wherever you listen. Tell a friend who can't sleep. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit room. See you in the dark.